The Chinese military's power and reach is expanding. China's foreign minister Qin Gang has been removed and erased after rumors he had an affair that led to a love child, and what caused the deadly collapse of a school gym. That and more on this week's China News Headlines. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. This episode is sponsored by Incogni. Now, you probably know companies are collecting your personal data, but you may not realize just how many. Dozens, maybe hundreds, most of which you've never heard of, and you have no idea what they're doing with it. Incogni helps stop them. I'll explain more at the end. North Korea is hosting Chinese and Russian officials this week to commemorate the armistice of the Korean War. North and South Korea are still technically at war, but 70 years ago, they agreed to stop fighting. North Korean state media said Russia's defense minister was there leading a Russian delegation. It said he hand-delivered to Kim Jong-un a letter from Vladimir Putin. Oh, how cute. Dictator pen pals. This comes after Kim Jong-un vowed to hold hands with Putin for strategic cooperation. Letters, holding hands. I can't wait to see what friendship necklaces they get each other. Shouldn't be a surprise that North Korea is all in on Russia's war, though. North Korea has been sanctioned like crazy by the West for its missiles and nuclear tests. And since Russia is now in a similar position, North Korea is probably hoping they can help each other out. The United States has accused North Korea of providing weapons to Russia, including an arms delivery of infantry rockets and missiles to the Wagner mercenary group last year. Since North Korea is already sanctioned up the wazoo, it's probably not too concerned about the consequences of helping Russia. Now, as I mentioned, China was also at the party. It sent a Politburo member in a sign of how seriously it takes the friendship. Both Russia and China came to North Korea's aid during the war to try and help take over South Korea, which is why they were invited back for the anniversary. What memories they share. Nothing draws friends closer together than war. And if they do go to war against the U.S., I wouldn't be surprised if they upgraded to a three-way friendship necklace. Speaking of war, Politico reported this week that China secretly sent enough gear to Russia to equip an army. According to customs records obtained by Politico, Russian buyers have declared orders for hundreds of thousands of bulletproof vests and helmets. This is on top of the drones, helmets, and body armor Chinese companies have already sold to Russia. Now, none of this should come as a shock. We've reported before about Chinese companies selling dual-use items to Russia that could be used in war. But this is just further evidence that despite wanting to appear neutral on the war in Ukraine, China clearly isn't. Speaking of Chinese and Russian trade, an analysis by Nikkei Asia found China's yuan beat the dollar and was used in almost half the country's trade last quarter. And that's mostly because of Sino-Russian trade. Since Russia was sanctioned by the West, it's agreed to trade with China in yuan and rubles. And now TikTok wants to sell made-in-China goods to Americans. I guess pushing state propaganda for China wasn't enough. Now the motherland is asking for business as well. The Wall Street Journal reports it will be similar to Amazon.com's Sold by Amazon program, where TikTok will store and ship items on behalf of the manufacturers and merchants in China. It'll also handle marketing, transactions, logistics, and after-sales services. Because that's just what we all need, more places to buy cheap stuff made in China. Weren't Shein and Temu doing a pretty good job of that already? Now, TikTok had tried to launch a third-party e-commerce platform in the US, but apparently American merchants were reluctant to join amid political uncertainty over the app's future, so the rollout was delayed. Speaking of, Joe, what happened to that ultimatum that TikTok either had to sever its ties with China or face a ban in the US? Was that just more hot air to make you look tough on China? And by the way, we're still waiting for the results of that Chinese spy balloon investigation. And no, officials leaking to the media about it doesn't count. And after the break, a school gym collapsed, and parents were kept in the dark. Welcome back. Fiji's Prime Minister posted this video on Twitter showing his shirt splattered with blood after he said he tripped while looking at his cell phone.
I was looking at my mobile phone, trying to walk up the steps, and I tripped and hurt my head.
He was set to travel to China the next day, but canceled it because his doctor needed to change his bandage. or at least that was his excuse. He had been invited to the World University Games in Chengdu, where he was supposed to meet Xi Jinping, which I can imagine would have been a little awkward since he hasn't been Fiji's most China-friendly prime minister in recent years. Since winning election last December, he's moved to distance himself from some of the former prime minister's policies, including moves to forge closer ties with China. For example, he said in June he was going to be reviewing a police deal with China that Fiji signed in 2011. That deal allows Chinese police officers to be stationed in Fiji. Fijian police have also gone to China for training under the deal. He reportedly said, "If our systems and our values differ, what cooperation can we get from them?" China's embassy in Fiji said Fiji shouldn't abandon the deal due to ideological prejudice. Yeah, we commit genocide, use rape as a form of torture, and kill innocent people for their organs, but come on, man, don't you think you're being a little bit prejudiced? 11 are dead in China after the roof of a school gym collapsed on a volleyball team Sunday. 19 people were reportedly in the gym when it collapsed. As of this recording, they're still investigating the cause. But right now, the main suspect is construction materials that were left on the roof for several months. Officials said the material, called perlite, gained weight after being soaked in water brought by rainfall. As you can imagine, this has raised scrutiny and anger over school safety and shoddy construction. Public confidence in both has been pretty low since the 2008 Sichuan earthquake leveled some 7,000 classrooms. It didn't help that parents in this case were kept in the dark by police for hours after the roof collapsed. And after the break, a top Chinese official has become an unperson. Welcome back. What happened to Qin Gang? China's foreign minister disappeared from public view over a month ago, and the only official explanation was that he had health problems. Now he's been replaced by his predecessor, Wang Yi, the director of the Communist Party's Office of Foreign Affairs. He hasn't just been replaced, though. He's now an unperson in the eyes of the Chinese Communist Party. Mentions of him have been scrubbed from the Foreign Ministry's website, which suggests he might have been purged. The Foreign Ministry has declined to comment on why he's being replaced. A spokesperson referred reporters to an article in Xinhua and said she had nothing more to add. Xinhua reported only that Qin Gang was removed from the post of foreign minister and that China's top legislator voted to appoint Wang Yi without saying why. Even stranger though, Xinhua was still referring to Wang Yi by his old title a day later. Maybe it was because his new title looks like a demotion? Wang Yi's position in the Communist Party made him China's highest diplomat. His new role as foreign minister is a government position and is considered lower down on China's totem pole. Qin Gang had been in the job only 7 months. Before that, he served as ambassador to the U.S. since 2021. There was speculation that Qin was sacked for having a love affair with Phoenix TV host Fu Xiaotian. Rumor is he fathered a child with her and that child was born in the U.S., which would have made him a U.S. citizen. That speculation was fueled by this tweet, which Fu posted showing her on a plane in LA with a baby and a screenshot of an interview she did with Qin. Definitely not suspicious at all. But a lot of China watchers say this would all just be a pretext, not a reason to remove Qin Gang, unless he had fallen out of favor with the party for some other reason. And China's military reach is growing. China's renovations on a naval base in Cambodia are almost complete. And it's made the U.S. and its allies nervous that China is developing it for its own use. Satellite imagery taken by U.S. commercial imagery company Black Sky found an eerie similarity between an angled deep-water pier of the Ream Naval Base in Cambodia and a pier at China's military base in Djibouti. The U.S. has raised its concern with Cambodia that China is establishing a military presence there, but Cambodia has denied that's the case. Now that said, China is providing both the manpower and funding for the project, and it definitely would like to have a naval presence there. The Washington Post reported that leaked U.S. military documents show an ambitious campaign by China's People's Liberation Army to build a global military network that includes at least 5 overseas bases and 10 logistical support sites by 2030. Well then, I guess we only have a few more years to tell. And this episode is sponsored by Incogni. Whenever you do anything online or use apps on your phone, there's a huge number of companies that collect your personal data. When I signed up for Incogni 12 months ago, I discovered there were dozens of data brokers that potentially had my private information without my permission. And these companies can get hacked, spreading my private information even more widely. For example, a couple months ago, thousands of Norton LifeLock customers got hacked, which is ironic since the whole point of LifeLock is identity theft protection. But this just goes to show even the biggest companies can get hacked. So what can you do? Get as many companies as possible to delete your data off the internet. And that's what Incogni does for you. Incogni has already gotten my details removed from 99 of these data brokers, with a lot more in progress. And I didn't have to do anything after signing up. Incogni just handles it. So I recommend you get Incogni for yourself. Click the link below or go to incogni.com/uncensored. The first 100 people to use the code uncensored will get 60% off. Get your personal data off the market with Incogni. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching China Uncensored.